spoken yet, so I'm going to. I'm not going to support this proposal this evening, and here's why. I don't think it's the right time to bring it. The suggestion, the proposal in the staff report is for the police chief to immediately bring any policy changes to the city manager. As we all know, we currently have an interim city manager who will be retiring early November of this year, and it is to be determined who will take over in that role for her, while we are simultaneously as a council in the process of beginning, well, more than beginning the search. We're about to start interviewing candidates for city manager, but that doesn't mean that we'll have one in place in this calendar year, probably not. So I would really like our next city manager to be able to weigh in on this proposal. I'd like to have his or her input, since they would be directly involved in it. I was also troubled that in the staff report, there actually was no mention of any report off agenda or otherwise back to the city council. And I still think that it's a respectful thing to do. I appreciate that it was brought forward in the oral report. But we also have some items that we're going to move forward, presumably, or at least going to come to this council for some decision, and that is to bring in a crime analyst, to bring in a police auditor, to bring in some sort of independent oversight. And I do want to make clear, I am greatly appreciative of the work of those 50 or 55 residents who our former city manager appointed to be this ad hoc, these subcommittees. Well, there was a steering committee, and yes, they were our grand marshals. But also the steering committees, and they made recommendations. There has been reference to the community has spoken. I have huge regard for the 55 individuals who spent hours and hours of their time going over discussions and making recommendations. It's not quite the same as saying the community has spoken, but we listen to them, and that's valid and valuable input. But I want to hear more. We haven't, as I said, gotten to this next step in some sort of independent oversight. I just came from League of California Cities, where I make a point of attending sessions that I think are of relevance and interest to our city. And I came away with some pretty interesting ideas about police oversight. So this is something that I think we can revisit. And the other thing I just want to add is, I have huge regard for this chief. I tell him and I tell others all the time, we are so fortunate to have him here. And I'm just so pleased to see the way he's growing this department and hiring new officers who look like the community they serve. And I'm very proud of that. But I just feel that given the situation where we find ourselves right now, it's a little premature to be making this decision. So I welcome the opportunity to consider it in the future. I will not be supporting a motion to approve if it's brought forward tonight. Okay.